we really need something different. So again, Mr. Harris and the elementary school staff have been great in trying to figure out how to support kids at each level. And I thought I had another page, but that was the end of it. So as student services director, I have my hand in a little bit of everything, different buckets. But I do enjoy working with your kids and your staff. The pandemic, God bless them, it's been difficult for everybody. But I've been so proud of our staff. They've really gone above and beyond trying to support kids virtually, face to face, in the midst of all this craziness. So thank you for letting me work with them. Stick around for questions?
I said once now, so for the grade card, you said for the special ed grade card we'll get. The gift, is that in that, or is that the other, when we talk about gifted servicing?
So in the report card,
yeah.
the district report card, they'll have a gifted component.
Okay, so that's two,
and
I thought it's two separate.
Yeah,
okay,
they do a special ed one that's strictly special education.
Okay.
And it asks those questions like, how are we preparing our students with IEPs for these certain criteria?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they ready to graduate? Are they coming ready to learn? They talk about the testing. Are they passing the test at certain levels? So some of that stuff you'll see replicated or duplicated from like the district report card you're used to seeing. But I'm just talking about the special education report card. Making sure we're compliant, making sure we're not breaking any laws, that's part of it too. Which we're always really good at, by the way, so.
Making sure that we're compliant.
Compliant. Compliance is
emphasis
helpful.
on that.
Good emphasis there.
It keeps us out of trouble. Yeah.
Somebody's at the door.
Oh no, I think that was just me knocking.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
You're fine.
I was knocking on the door just to
Okay.
make sure that we stay out of trouble.
Okay.
But yeah, I can come back in January, February and talk about the gifted component as well. I can't imagine much is going to change from last year to next year, last year to this year, but next year, I cannot wait.
Well, that's right, yeah, because I know that's why we're hoping to get involved in this
Absolutely.
program.
Absolutely.
Because that should really help.
Increase
bring
our
up-
reach.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Well, thank you, Sarah.
No, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Sure, thank you.
Next up, item 4, public participation. We, had waived the in-person for the remainder of the year, but we didn't have any requests for any virtual public participation that we're aware of. So we're going to move on to discussion and approval of the minutes. Did anybody have any corrections or questions from last month's minutes? If not, could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Sean Shook, seconded by Bill Moore to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Union-Thurston Board of Education meeting held on November 9th, 2020 as printed. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Water?
Yes. Item 6, monthly financial statements. Ms. Boyer?
Okay, you have our bank reconciliation. And then our monthly financial report. Really, there's not a lot to say in the monthly financial report. I would like to point out in the expenditures, we paid, you wouldn't see it in the report, we paid on our bond retirement, which comes out of the bond retirement fund, and we paid our last payment on our 2011 bond. So now we just have one outstanding bond, and it'll be paid off in December 2026. Page 8 is the interest earned, and then page 9 is the comparison. And then we have the bills paid. On page 1, 95652 to Smetzer Tire Center for $3,998.12. That was tires for the buses, and they came from the general fund. 95663 to Ashland University for $24,480. That was for the gifted cohort tuition that Sarah was just talking about. That came from the general fund. And then 95665 to Bank of New York Mellon for $822,918.75, and that was payment on the 2 of the bonds and paying off the one. 95674 to Greenlight Wholesale for $17,738. That was for 10 greenhouse lights at $16,650, and lights at the elementary school of $640 from the general fund, and then $448 came from the building fund for the new athletic building. On page 2, 95684 to Pioneer Manufacturing for $3,500. That was for backpack sprayers, and that came from our ESSER small town federal government fund, or grant, excuse me.
You said that was for like, you said backpack sprayers?
Yeah.
Okay, for like application of,
To spray down for the disinfectant,
Okay.
for the buses and that type of thing. 95689 to Worcester Storm for $7,360. That was for Balkan Range, the stove, for the elementary school, and that came from the food service fund. 95694 to Baltimore Builder for $43,852.44. Of that, $37,621.38 is from the building fund, and that was for materials for the athletic building. And the balance of $6,231.06 were miscellaneous supplies from the general fund. And then 95720 to Heimberger, Ken Heimberger Paving for $12,448. That was the balance owed for the elementary and middle school parking lots for the repairs that they did, and that came from the roof and parking lot fund. Page 3, 95744 to Nationwide Children's Hospital for $5,000. That's for the trainer, and that came from the athletic fund. 95751 Smithco Equipment for $3,158, and that was all general fund. $3,100 was for an infrared heater, and $58 was for a belt. And 95753 Test Out Corporation for $2,650. That was curriculum for the new Infotech program, and that came from the general fund. And then you have our changes and appropriations for the 018, 200s and 300s, and then the donations. We have $250 for team meals from SEBA Properties to the football team fundraiser. $300 for team meals from Harkins Construction to the football fundraiser. $440 in miscellaneous donations to the DC trip. $100 in miscellaneous donations to the DC trip. And $40.67 from Kroger Rewards to Ohio Model UN. And we're at the bottom of mine.
can I have anybody have any questions about the monthly financial items? Not have a motion to approve it?
Second.
Motion by Carol Tana, seconded by Sean Shook to approve monthly financial items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter,
Yes.
Ms. Cato.
Yes.
Item 7, new business financial. A, tax budget for fiscal year 2022. A copy of the complete 2022 fiscal year tax budget of the Union-Thurston budget is on file in the Treasurer's Office. The Treasurer, April Boyard, recommends approval. B, resolution approving invoice payment. Treasurer April Boyard recommends approval of the following. Liberty Union-Thurston Board of Education requests approval of payment of purchase order 486740, invoice number 1125108, dated 11/3/2020, in the amount of $3,534.40 to Franklin Equipment Groveport Superstore, and that was for rental of a Skyjack telehandler for the new athletic building. C, agreement for deposit of public funds. The Treasurer recommends approval of the following. I'm not going to read through all of that, but I'll let you speak to that in a little bit there, April.
Okay.
And then D, service providers, the superintendent recommends approval of the following. Service provider is OSBA, contract period is January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Services provided, one-time initial conversion of the board's policy manual to board docs, if applicable, web hosting of the district's policy manual, updates to board policies, subscription to policy development quarterly, sample policies, telephone consultation, the fee is $1,500. And then, April, do you want to speak to anything on the?
Oh, well, the agreement for deposits of public funds, that's just agreeing that we can use, Huntington National Bank. Right now, we don't have any investments with them because, everything tanked and I took it out and put it in Fairfield National. If the economy would turn around, I just wanted to have us the availability to move the money back there. They don't charge on their investing side the fees that the other places do. So that's why I wanted to leave that as an option. It looks like a good option in the future.
Anybody have any other questions on new business financial? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Carol Cato, seconded by Sean Shook to approve the new business financial items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Item 8, new business personnel. A is the certified substitute list. Request and recommend approval of the December 2020 certified list from the Fairfield County ESC. B, classified substitute list. The superintendent requests approval of the December 2020 classified substitute list with the addition of the following names. Ashley Traster for food services. Item C, these are extended days, and it should be for additional extended days. If you remember I think it was back in July or so, we had approved for 30 days for Mr. Thomas and Mr. Turner. This is for additional 10 at this. And then we have D, which is an addendum. This is supplemental positions and contracts. The superintendent requests approval of the following personnel effective November 20, 2020. This is for Travis Christen as middle school wrestling coach, level 4, step 5. Any questions on new business personnel? Anything to add on that with the extended days, Dr. Johnson?
Well, I've been asking for accountability, and they've been providing it weekly.
Okay.
And I'm satisfied that they've accounted for the first 30.
Okay.
We talked about that before,
Right.
and if that was satisfactorily completed, I would come back for an additional 10. Historically, there's been 50 days, so there's still 10 days available, but the accountability will continue, and I may come back for the last 10.
And we had changed that originally just because we weren't sure what was going to be going on with the pandemic situation.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Could I have a motion for new business personnel?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion by Sean Shook, seconded by Bill Moore to approve the new business personnel items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item 9, new business other. A is an addendum to the student handbook. The superintendent and principals recommend approval of the following addendum. B, early graduation request. Senior students Haley Renee Quartz, Casey James Fleeman, and Gavin Wayne Sims will graduate on December 18, 2020. They have enough credits and they will be considered graduates as of 2021. Dr. Johnson, you want to add anything about the addendum? It seems like it's got to do with some of the COVID.
Yeah, the attendance pieces, because of the remote learning, the county Department of Programming for Children have indicated that they want to have us account for it, and so this allows us to do this by hour. And then I also have some documentation, and there's a form to complete. So this will meet their particular needs for accountability. With respect to the graduation, we're finding a number of students that are graduating early. So I think that we'll be looking at how we structure the high school programming.
Mm-hmm.
and probably coming back to the board in a couple of months to describe how we'd like to change that. Because right now, you have so many credits, you could actually graduate at the end of your junior year.
Yeah.
So, and we want to look at that, present to the board. Hello.
Hello.
Here.
7:25.
Or
9A and B.
Yeah, we just finished
9A
that.
and B, we're getting ready to make a motion.
All right, sounds good, thank you.
So can I have a motion for the new business other items?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sean Shook, second by Carol Cato to approve the new business other items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle?
Abstain.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Water?
Yes. Item 10, board policy.
Just let it be known I abstained because I got here after all the general discussion. So just want to let everybody know why. Thank you.
10, board policy updates. The following policies are presented for the first reading review only and will be voted on the January 11th, 2021 Board of Education meeting. A, policy DBC, executive sessions. B, policy DJB, petty cash accounts. C, policy DM, deposit of public funds. Cash collection points. I think that's it. Yes. And those are just for, yeah, do you want to add anything on those, Dr. Johnson, about?
Normally, we have asked the board to approve on first reading, and the reason we've done that is all of the policies that we've given to you have been required.
Yeah.
So it would seem easy to approve them. There have been an occasional question and slight modifications previously, and you've made those changes and approved on first reading. Our policy, the board policy, says that should have a first reading or second reading, so that's what we're doing. But we may come back and modify our policy to indicate maybe a sentence that policies that are required and presented from the School Board Association would be approved on first reading and all others second, something like that.
Makes sense.
Yep. Got item 11, annual board reorganization and next regular meeting. The Board of Education reorganization meeting will be the regular meeting immediately following, will be held on Monday, January 11, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the conference room of the district office. It is necessary to appoint a president pro temp for the reorganizational meeting. So,
I move to appoint Sean Shook.
I've got a motion by Sean Hookrattle. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. To appoint Sean Shook as President Pro Temp for the January 11, 2021 Board of Education reorganizational meeting. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Hookrattle?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Abstain.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Item 12, executive session. An executive session was requested by the superintendent under item E, matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulation and state statutes. So I will make a note that we will not be doing any business after this executive session aside from just adjourning the meeting. So if anybody, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Sean Hookrattle, seconded by Bill Moore to go into executive session for the reason as stated at 7:29 p.m. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Hookrattle?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
So we can turn